Welcome to AlphaCars Service Center. We have some interesting jobs today. One that I'd like to show you in particular is this 2007 BMW X3. We sold this car many years ago, and it's been a great vehicle for the owners, and it's time to get through some of the pretty major works. So what it's in today are the oil leaks, and this particular customer, he's not very close, so we get to see this car when it needs some major work, and he took it for an oil service, and the shop that did the oil service reported an oil leak from under the engine, suspected the rear main seal. So the car came in, we did the diagnosis and confirmed that the oil leak is in fact not coming from the rear main seal, and instead it's coming from the oil pan gasket, oil stand gasket, and a couple other areas. So we are in the middle of the oil pan gasket removal, and you can see the oil pan is now on the ground. You can see the parts that we had to remove. So the oil pan, because this is an all-wheel drive BMW, this particular one is set up that the drive shaft is actually crossing the oil pan. You can see this pass through, and so the shaft, as you can see right here, goes through the oil pan, and this way the BMW engineers were able to achieve a much lower center of gravity to lower the engine that close. So we are looking now at the bottom of the engine, which is also nice and clean and indicative of the proper maintenance. You can see that we removed the, here is the front differential, the front drive shaft. You can see splash shields with plenty of oil in them, and we're about to get started on reassembly of the vehicle. Once the work is completed, we're going to get on top of the engine and we will work on the oil stand gasket. But you can see that there is a lot of work to be done to gain access to the oil pan, and then you have to elevate the engine and suspend the engine. You can see the engine mount is undone. Engine mounts are undone on both sides. Suspensions are undone. The steering rack and the whole front subframe has to be lowered. During this time, that's a good time to inspect all the components and replace anything that would be expected to wear soon. This is a good labor-saving opportunity. You can see technician is ready to go. All the new bolts. They have thread locks on them. He's already done all of that. So this is all ready to go. Thank you very much for viewing this video from AlphaCars Service Center. There has been some developments here with the X3 oil leak repairs. As you know, we replaced the engine oil pan gasket. We also replaced oil filter stand gasket, which both are very common. Originally, the car came in with suspicion that there may be a leak from the oil pan, from the rear main seal. But when we cleaned it and did the initial inspection, we found obvious and active leaks from the other two parts. After we completed that work, while on the lift, we restarted the engine, ran it for about 10 minutes at maybe 1800 RPM. We looked at this inspection hole right here, access hole right there, and we saw some wetness coming from the rear main seal. So at this point, we are replacing the rear main seal. So we do have the We do have the transmission ready to be removed. You can see the exhaust was removed. Here are the downpipes. Here's the oil pan. You can see the new bolts. So we are removing the transmission at this point, and you can see the parts that had to come off the vehicle. They're right here on the floor. You can see the exhaust heat shields, splash shields that we will clean from oil because they have been exposed to oil leak for a long time. Yeah, you can see the transfer case on the back of the transmission. You can see the front differential right here. And all suspension components are now assembled. The BMW X3 is all set. We got new tires. It's getting the alignment done. And it has now new rear main seal, new oil pan gasket, new valve stand gasket, and a few other goodies. So all the mechanical work on the X3 has been completed, and it's now getting its complimentary cleaning and getting ready for customer pickup. We completed all the oil leak repairs, end up being the oil pan gasket, oil filter stand gasket, and rear main seal. On a final test drive, we noticed that there were pending codes for the oxygen sensor heater, so replace that. Today we did another test drive and no codes, everything is beautiful. We also installed new Continental Extreme Contact tires, and now the car is getting cleaned up and it's going to be ready to go shortly.